The Ministry of Health wishes to advise members of the public that prevention is key during this flu season. Practicing good cough hygiene can make the difference between you and your loved ones getting the flu or spreading the influenza virus. Good cough hygiene habits include covering your mouth and nose with a tissue when coughing or sneezing, and proper disposal of the tissue in a trash bin. Coughing or sneezing into your upper sleeve near your inner elbow and not your hands when a tissue is not available. Avoiding the use of handkerchiefs and towels as they hold germs, becoming a nest for the virus. And frequently washing your hands with soap and water, which is listed as one of the most important steps you can take to avoid getting sick and passing the virus on to others. If you have any questions about how to practice good cough hygiene to avoid catching or spreading the flu, contact your nearest community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications Section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but we are not on vacation. The GLAT, BJC, and BGCSE examinations are still on. Use this time wisely by preparing for these national examinations. Remember, your success depends on you.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications Section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Influenza, or the flu as it is commonly called, is a viral illness that usually occurs between the months October to March. The virus is transmitted from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or talking. Symptoms include fever, cough, headache, runny nose, generalized body aches, and fatigue. There is no specific treatment for the flu, and the symptoms usually dissipate after 3 to 7 days. Because it is caused by a virus, antibiotics are not used to treat the flu. Persons are encouraged to rest and drink lots of fluids. Panadol is recommended for fever and body aches associated with the flu. However, aspirin should be avoided due to the risk of bleeding. To decrease the spread of flu, persons are encouraged to get their flu shot annually and practice good cough hygiene. Additional information can be provided by your community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Made the decision to open our branches to our senior citizens from 8:45.
I just want to invite persons out there who are healthy to think about those persons in hospital who are sick, in need of blood, not necessarily suffering from COVID, but from other illness.
The country's once thriving hotel sector at a standstill. More businesses exempted under the emergency order and a lesson in contemplative mindfulness. Good morning, everyone. I'm Akushla Pinder and welcome to the morning edition. Thousands of hospitality workers temporarily laid off as some of the world's leading resorts here in the Bahamas close. As of Wednesday, mega Paradise Island property Atlantis made what it called a socially responsible decision to close until May 15th. At that time, the resort officials will assess the situation and make a determination on reopening. Also, as of today, the Bahama Resort will close, laying off all non-essential staff. In all, the decision will impact thousands in the industry. Union President Darren Woods not surprised by the move.
It was kind of expected because it's just a matter of time. And so the only thing is, I think they maybe have what they call a small skeleton crew just to maintain any equipment and keep some of the areas clean, but well over 3,000 because that's our largest membership there. And you know, Malia is going to move to do the same thing. The only property that has not indicated that is the Hilton as yet, but it's just a matter of time before that happens, and then all of the hotels will be closed at that point, I guess. we don't represent Sandals, but I know they sent out a communication that they're closing until May also. So straight across the board, all of the hotels on Nassau will be closed.
While Bahama Property has agreed to pay full-time associates the equivalent of 40% of their base pay for up to 90 days, Woods remains concerned about the overall benefits for affected workers throughout the industry.
Well, the thing for us is to get some sort of stimulus going for them. We were hoping that the unemployment benefit would have already kicked in, and that would kind of give us a gauge as to when the other benefits that we are negotiating will come into play. They have indicated that whatever is negotiated, there will be no overlapping of benefits, and so we want to ensure that as one benefit kicks in and comes to an end, the other benefit kicks in and continues for whatever period. But we also are mindful that we are not certain as to how long this is going to be, and so we want to kind of be able to measure that also. And it's difficult to measure it because, based on the world trend, there's nothing to support anything opening up in the near future.
The Prime Minister, meantime, giving leeway to additional businesses operating that, considering more have been exempted from the Emergency Powers COVID-19 Order number 2. This just days after a 24-hour mandatory curfew was implemented under the same order. Altavis Munnings explains.
Electronic and technical services, including two-way radio communication system providers, electronic communication or technology service providers, and information technology support businesses, and businesses engaged in repairing automatic teller machines will only be permitted to operate between the hours of 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. or in an emergency or on call only. Farms, including hydroponic farms with or without live animals, and livestock feeding and tending for human consumption can be done between 6 a.m. and 1 p.m., but cannot be open to the general public. The Bahamas and Grand Bahama Humane Societies are exempted in the order, as well as veterinarians and national park wardens working on an emergency basis or on call. Subsistence farming is allowed between daylight hours no longer than 8 p.m., and the order also allows commercial fishing until April 1st, and all product must be taken directly to a processing plant and may only be sold to a wholesale distributor and not the public. The addition to the emergency order also enables lawyers, while discharging instructions of criminal existing matters or taking instructions in new criminal matters, only where this cannot be done by audiovisual means with the assistance from the Department of Corrections. Property management or maintenance services are exempted, but they must not serve the general public. Regarding travel services, rental car businesses can open to the public between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. only to allow return rentals and the extension of any rental contract. Groceries and non-alcoholic beverage mobile delivery services, janitorial and related services, and pool maintenance and supplies businesses can operate between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Business-to-business suppliers of cleaning chemicals that cannot serve the public are able to open between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. Funeral homes and all public and private cemeteries are also exempted in the new addition to the emergency order. Industrial manufacturers, including Polymers International, the Grand Bahama Power Company, Bradford Grand Bahama, Pharmachem Technologies, Freeport Container Port, Bahama Rock, Buckeye Bahamas, Grand Bahama Shipyard, Bahamas Industrial Technologies, Bahamian Brewery, Freeport Aggregates Limited, and Quality Services Limited are also exempted in the new emergency order. Non-profit and civic organizations and churches utilizing essential persons only can provide food packages to persons in need between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. with physical distancing maintained. With permission from the Commissioner of Police, the new emergency order stipulates that the Oteg Naval Base in Andros, OBBAD and Customs and Border Protection, consular officers, diplomatic security agents, and embassy and security personnel can operate between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. or in an emergency with permission from the Commissioner of Police. The order also allows Jacks Bay Development Limited to provide in-house security services, and Commonwealth Brewery can operate as needed to permit its security manager and other in-house security personnel to secure sites and respond to emergencies as needed. The addition to the new order also stipulates that only essential workers must be utilized to perform the core functions of these businesses, and physical distancing must always be maintained. Altabiz Munnings, ZNS Network News.
Well, there are more than 8,000 COVID-19 cases in the United Kingdom with just over 400 deaths. While a number of Bahamians remain in the UK, some of them have returned home. Here's Bahamian High Commissioner in London, His Excellency Alison Greenslade, with a status report.
I have not received any reports of ill health from any member of the Bahamian diaspora in the United Kingdom, nor from any of the European countries that are in my portfolio. These countries include Germany, France, Italy, Greece, Sweden, Malta, and Ireland. Let me hasten to say, however, that over the past 2 weeks, the Bahamas High Commissioner in London has facilitated the return to the Bahamas of several Bahamians. Over recent days, we heard from Bahamians in Spain and Denmark who requested assistance to return to the Bahamas. Unfortunately, due to current travel restrictions, we could not facilitate their return. They have been asked to shelter in place and to continue to exercise all precautions. The High Commission also heard from a Bahamian citizen who is employed on board a cruise ship, which is presently at berth at the port of Southampton in the UK. This citizen has also been asked to shelter in place and to continue to exercise all precautions. Notwithstanding this advice, be assured that the Bahamas High Commission stands ready to assist any of its citizens who are in distress and who make a request for assistance.
COVID-19 was first confirmed in the UK at the end of January with increasing figures. Over in Florida, officials are battling a notable number of COVID-19 cases. A number of Bahamians studying have also packed up and left, though others stay put working online. We spoke with Consul General Linda Trico-Mackey.
As state and federal measures are in place, we are in full compliance and therefore working remotely. Nonetheless, we are accessible to our diaspora, to our students, and to Bahamians in distress. We are actively engaging our students, especially those who are seeking to return home, and others who simply need updates regarding this virus. Our services are case by case, and we are encouraging all of our Bahamians to remain safe and to be informed, stay informed with all the updates. Our websites are being updated on a regular basis as we seek to keep our Bahamians informed both locally and in the Bahamas.
On the local scene, many family islanders are taking the curfew measures seriously and are said to be upholding the COVID-19 regulations being promoted by health officials. Down in Mayaguana District, Administrator Leonard Dame says residents were also provided with key critical information.
Prior, before the orders were given, we ensured that we held our town meeting, that all of the residents, they attended. We had a health team. They explained what is expected and what is required of them. We were also able to identify a place whereby we could use it if in the event persons show signs that we need to use it for isolation. And since the orders were given, I must say that the residents, that they cooperated, they still cooperating, and they abided by all of the instructions what was given. The police, they did their rounds. They on the road, they are ensuring that persons are in their residence, and only those who need to come out at the assigned time are out on the street. So I must say that the residents, they're faring well, and they are indeed abiding by all of the orders.
Well, Eleuthera residents, meantime, say they're pretty much adapting to this new lifestyle, as so many of them are accustomed to being indoors, soaking up the island breeze. Kevin Brown, Eleuthera resident, Cordell Evans,
Curfew for this time right now is very important for our people. Some people might not like it, but it's better for the beneficial of our people. So so that this disease wouldn't be spreading as much, because, you know, our lives are very important here in the Bahamas, so I have no problem with it. And the person in my settlement, they all are responding well, because I've been out for the past 2-3 days. They are so really out here in the streets, and that's really surprising, because people always out here in these streets, but I guess they're listening to the law, so it's coming on well.
The government should be alongside with the residents of the Bahamas. This is a blessed nation. This is God's nation. And God is speaking to us right now. It's signs that we do not know. We are living in revelation time. You feel me? And as a young man, for me to say that, it really tickles my spine.
I feel that the curfew, it is needed in the Bahamas, but as a business owner, we lose a lot of sales. But, you know, we have to do what we have to do to abide by the laws. But it is taking a damper in our sales.
I mean, if you really look at the word of God, you know, the church is for the healing of the land. So if my people, which are called by my name, will humble themselves, pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then when I, God, hear from heaven, I will forgive sins and I will heal the land. So now if the people fall weak, you know, which is the healer of the land, then how the land will be healed?
Coming up, how mailboat services are faring in the face of a global pandemic. You're watching the Morning Edition. Stay with us.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but we are not on vacation. Often check the Ministry of Education's social media platform for accurate updates on your studies and national exams. These include the website at www.ministryofeducationbahamas.com and the Ministry of Education's Facebook page at Ministry of Education Bahamas or Twitter at BahamasMOE. Do not listen to fake news. It's safer and smarter.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but we are not on vacation. Remember to stay at home to avoid the spread of COVID-19. Social distancing is very important. Remember, it's safer and smarter.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Welcome back. Chief Justice Sir Brian Murray making a number of adjustments to new measures implemented throughout the court system to stop the continued spread of the highly contagious COVID-19. Aside from implementing strict social distancing policies and using video and teleconferencing calls, all new criminal and civil trials have been suspended, among other measures. The Chief Justice also highlighting measures for those who have to pay fines in the lower court.
All fines, including fines under fixed penalty notices in traffic cases, can be paid under current procedures in New Providence between the hours of 10:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m., in Grand Bahama between 9:30 a.m. and 2 p.m., and in Abaco between 9:30 a.m. and 12 noon. All trials in traffic cases are suspended until the 31st of March 2020, when the position will be reviewed. Remands in the Magistrates Court will continue by video link with the remand court at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services facility.
The Coroner's Court will also operate under new hours.
Of the coroner will be open for signing releases during weekdays in New Providence from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., in Grand Bahama from 9:30 a.m. until 2 p.m., and in Abaco between 9:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. Voluntary bills of indictment will be suspended until the 31st of March 2020. In the Magistrates Court, on the civil side, that is, all cases which are not criminal, traffic, or juvenile, new trial dates are suspended until the 31st of March 2020. Part heard civil matters in the Magistrates Court are suspended until the 31st of March 2020. New dates will be assigned by the magistrate.
Well, mailboat operators telling ZNS News they've seen a decline in the number of freight packages shipped to the Family Islands following the 24-hour curfew implemented under the COVID-19 emergency order by the Prime Minister. Captain of the Daybreak, Antonio Ima, says despite the decline in freight, the Daybreak will still set sail to Current, Governor's Harbor, and Spanish Wells and Harbor Island as scheduled. Ima also made this special appeal to frequent customers.
It was relatively okay on Monday. Today's Wednesday, so we see it's really less. I can't give you an exact amount of the packages itself, but we do what we have to do. We're mandated to go to the island, so we're going. We are trying to see, you can see from the freight amount that we have now, it has gone. I think the folks who have heard of the 24-hour curfew, they're taking that it means you don't even come on the dock. You have to stay off the dock. So if you have family members who require items on the islands, I still advise you to come to the dock and bring it. Just let the police, if you're stopped, let them know exactly where you're going.
Meanwhile, small business owner Marvin McCartney says it's been quite a challenge sending off and picking up her packages from the mailboat due to long lines.
I am a frequent person to the mailboat for drop-offs due to my little personal small business. So currently I'm out here sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. And it's a major difference today to see that the hassle that you have to get out here to be on time to catch the mailboat, to even put on stuff, it's very different. It's like wide open. It's a lot of space here.
Well, the pandemic no doubt putting a damper on operations at Royal Banks across the Caribbean. In the Bahamas, the banks implemented new opening hours for seniors and those with special needs. We spoke with Royal Bank's Managing Director, Lasagna Missick, yesterday via Skype.
We made the decision to open our branches to our senior citizens from 8:45 in the morning. We're going to dedicate the first 30 minutes of our banking services to them. We believe that under the circumstances, the clients would understand how important it is to serve the clients, such as the senior citizen. And that's our intent to continue to do that, starting on Friday, March 27th, and going into April.
There's also a time adjustment to RBC's normal banking operations.
Our normal banking hours now, subsequent to COVID-19, will be from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and we have discontinued our Saturday banking services. So we are still there to serve our clients for as long as the authorities allow us to.
COVID-19 atmosphere, but the blood bank in urgent need of your services. We'll tell you more when the morning edition returns.
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
For the latest news and highlights in Bahamian culture, tune in to the new Junkadoo 242, Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network. Radio Bahamas 1540 a.m. on 104.5 FM and TV 13. Each week, host Arlene Nash Ferguson and Darren Bastian engages listeners with some of the movers and shakers of Junkadoo and Bahamian culture. Don't miss Junkadoo 242, Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on the ZNS Radio and Television Network.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
School is closed, but not for vacation. The global pandemic COVID-19 continues to spread worldwide. Here's what you can do to keep yourself safe. If you have a headache, runny nose, sneeze, or cough, stay at home until you feel better. When you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth or nose with a bent elbow and dispose of the used tissue immediately. If symptoms persist, call the COVID-19 hotline at 376-9350 or 376-9387. Remember, it's safer and smarter.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, your hottest place on the planet for rims, tints, tires, and auto sales. We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king. Blessed luck. That's how Rough Riders roll.
Welcome back to the morning edition. This next one's for those of you sitting at home in need of special care, be it physiotherapy or physical therapy. In studio to school us a bit, Dr. Millicent Rollins and Miss Austria Newbold. Ladies, welcome to the morning edition.
Morning. Morning. Thank you.
First of all, a very basic question. What is physiotherapy or physical therapy?
Well, basically, physiotherapy involves movement specialists that help to help persons to get optimal physical function back, reaching their maximum capacity in terms of doing things in their daily living. And so basically a physical therapist would diagnose what the movement impairment may be, and then they would make a plan of care for that patient in terms of what needs to be done to help them to get back to physical function.
Now, in this environment of self-isolation, what role does physical therapy play in assisting these patients?
Well, basically, our role really is to help persons that during this interval in terms of self-isolation or self-distancing, that they are able to maintain physical function. And persons may fall into several categories, three main categories, and that may be mild, moderate, or severe. And in the mild category, those persons may be already active, have comorbidities that are well under control, and so they're used to their walking, their jogging, their swimming. And so at this point in time with self-isolation and self-distancing, we're encouraging those patients to continue to be active. You may want to put in an old workout DVD or take up a new activity like Zumba or yoga, but the whole point is to continue to be active. And so I'll let Altira speak about the moderate category of persons.
Well, when it comes to the moderate category of persons, we're considering persons that may have an injury or illness that they're recovering from, and they may also be under therapy care. So we're thinking about, or what we wanted to share about today, were strategies in relation to persons dealing with pain. So we have persons that at this period of time, they're unable to get the care that they need from a therapist. So some of the strategies that they can use at home, let's say there are thermal modalities that include things like hot packs, cold packs. Now, if you're going to use a cold pack, we usually would suggest those kinds of modalities for persons who are in really severe or intense pain or having some elements of swelling. And we may look at a heating pad more for persons who have certain arthritic, longer-term type issues. So for persons in pain, we would use the thermal modalities. Then there are some things like TENS machines, the little electrode devices that persons who are engaged in therapy you can potentially buy. I've seen some in the local store at Kelly's. And then on over-the-counter, there are things like topical rubs, whether it is you use the emollients that you kind of rub, and then you kind of get a gentle self-massage as well in helping yourself with pain.
Let me throw this scenario at you. You've given me a regimen to follow at home. I fall off. How do I still cope and, deal with what I'm going through?
All right. So now you're talking about something we're facing every day, which is patient compliance. And so in that regard, there are some strategies that persons can use. One of those strategies is remember what your goal is. If you're focused on your goal and you want to attain it, then you're more motivated to do so. Reach out to your physical therapist via email, social media. For rehab services under PHA, you can call 376-2820. We have a phone that we can dedicate ourselves as therapists to be able to answer your questions. And then on top of that, you may want to ensure that you're following your home exercise program by celebrating small gains. If you did 3 sets today, wow, great, let's keep it going. Try 4 sets or increase the repetitions of how many times you're doing it. You may want to separate and isolate in terms of how often you're doing it to make sure you're compliant. Okay, I'm going to do this before I eat my breakfast and make sure I get it in for the day. Or I'm going to ensure that while I'm sitting down and watching my favorite Netflix show, I'm actually doing some exercises. So those are some strategies. Focus on your goal. Focus on what is going to make you feel better and not lose the gains that you have attained during physical therapy.
Typically, how often should you be doing therapy, I guess, a day? Or does that depend on
It may depend on the particular condition. On average, patients may be seen anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week on average. So we may say to patients, you come to us for therapy, but then in between those times, we also have an expectation for you to be doing your therapy, because the honest truth is, we look at ourselves as persons that are helping you to get better, but also as facilitators, guides, and coaches, and helping you to understand your personal responsibility in your care and your personal responsibility to help yourself get back to the function and the life that you love.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for joining us here on the Morning Edition. Some great information there for those who have to undergo physiotherapist. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, the Princess Margaret Hospital's blood bank still in dire need of all types of blood. Operating hours Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The bank's closed on Sundays. Again, interested donors must bring their NIB or driver's license cards and practice social distancing. Supervisor Everett Miller says there's been a decline, and of course, the virus is to blame.
On a daily basis, we're looking at about 20, 25 units of blood coming in. And when we don't have that, and for the last week and a half, almost 2 weeks now, we've been in that situation where we've been having like 4 or maybe 3 persons come in. And it's simply not enough to suffice the need of our patients.
A person's died because of the result of having no blood?
As far as I know, no. Nobody has died. But there again, you know, the chances are there. We're looking out for persons, especially in terms of an accident. It can happen at any time.
Miller says despite the threat of COVID-19 here at home, that he made this appeal for Bahamians to give the gift of life.
I just want to invite persons out there who are healthy to think about those persons in hospital who are sick, in need of blood, not necessarily suffering from COVID, but from other illness, pregnancy, cancer, diabetes, low iron. Those persons are still in need of blood.
Well, thousands of children are at home. Coming up, a special exercise to keep the little ones healthy. You're watching the Morning Edition. Stay with us.
It's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
Buddy Hield and the Kings have their...
Buddy Hield seems to be having the best season of his career. He had 32 points the other night. It was a bit disappointing, Shawnee Miller not winning the IWF World Female Athlete of the Year. The high school rankings will soon be out. Tabernacle, the defending champion, CC Sweeting, they are always there. Who will it be this year? Each Monday on 1540 AM and 104.5 FM, it's the OT with yours truly, Charles Fisher.
The Ministry of Health is working to ensure the safety of the Bahamian people. Help us minimize the risk that coronavirus poses to citizens, residents, and visitors by following these 5 easy steps. Step 1. Wet your hands with clean water, apply soap and lather for 20 seconds by rubbing them together. Include the top of your hands between your fingers and under your fingernails. Rinse your hands under clean water, then dry them with a paper towel or air dry them. Remember to wash your hands before and after eating, preparing a meal, changing a diaper, or caring for the sick, and always after using the bathroom, touching money, shaking hands, or taking out the trash. Step 2. Cough and sneeze in your elbow or upper sleeve, not in your hands, not in the air. Or you can cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze. Put your used tissue in the trash bin when you're finished. Remember to wash your hands with soap and clean water after you cough or sneeze. Also, remember never to spit on the ground, roads, or in open spaces. Step 3. Ensure that raw meat is properly handled and cooked thoroughly. Step 4. Avoid sharing drinking glasses, eating utensils like spoons and forks, or sharing personal items such as toothbrushes and towels. Germs can live on surfaces we touch, so wipe and disinfect surfaces where germs can live, and keep your surroundings clean. Step 5. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing. Should you or anyone you know feel that you have been exposed to the coronavirus, contact the surveillance unit of the Ministry of Health immediately. To reach us, call 502-4776, 502-4790, or 502-4737. We want Bahamians and those that live with and visit us to remain safe from the coronavirus. To do this, we need the help of each and every one of you to follow the simple steps we have shared. Let's stay safe, Bahamas.
Hey, have you heard? ZNS is everywhere you are when you download the new ZNS app. Whether you're on the move or just kicking back. Miss something on the news? It's there. Want to keep up with a live update? It's there. Or just want to listen to your favorite station? It's there too. Download the app now from the App Store and Google Play Store.
Oh, welcome back. We're taking you out to the streets where our Lloyd Allen is monitoring your morning commute.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Well, good morning, Makushla, and good morning to all of our viewers. This morning, we are in the area of Navy Line Road, and this is near Wolf Road, near the Scotiabank that you can see right behind me. Of course, again, this is one of those mornings where minimal traffic is on the streets. Very few persons on the road making their way to various stores or attempted to go to banks, pharmacies, those few places that remain open as this 24-hour curfew remains in effect. This morning, I'm also joined by Corporal Danielle Capron from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, who's giving us an idea of how officers have really been trying to address persons moving about in the midst of the 24-hour curfew. Good morning.
Good morning, Bahamas.
All right, so tell us about what your efforts have been looking like over the past few days.
Well, over the past few days, what we have tried to instill and enforce is the rules and regulations of the road traffic, as well as the regulations that would have been put in place by our government. We wish to encourage members of the public to try not to traverse the streets of New Providence, only under extreme circumstances. Try not to take the situation lightly and try to remain at home and indoors.
And so while that advisory has gone out to the public, many persons remain on the streets. Now, one specific question I did want to ask, we already know that emergency order number 2 advanced the curfew to 24 hours. However, is there any distinction between the regular hours and that of the 9 p.m. to 5 a.m.? Or does the curfew stand 24 hours completely?
Well, the curfew stands 24 hours completely. Persons are still adhering to that 9 p.m. Feature that would have previously passed. However, the curfew is extended to 24 hours. So we must remain indoors as far as applicable, 24 hours.
And finally, of course, you're on the streets this morning. What have you seen? You said earlier that many persons are staying off the road. Our persons are driving with caution and care. Is there still order that remains, or are some persons deciding to take advantage of this opportunity?
Well, because traffic is minimal, we're not seeing very many offenders. However, we're still encountering a few traffic accidents, and that should not be.
And same rules apply when it comes to an accident. I'm asking specific to the length of time officers take to actually get to the scene.
Well, we try as far as applicable to get to the accident in a timely fashion. Where there is a delay, it may be that officers are dealing with some other matter. But as far as possible, we try and put the members of the public, that we prioritize them and get to the accidents as soon as possible.
All right, thanks so much, Corporal Capron. Of course, we're reporting here from the Wolf Road area. Lloyd Allen, Makushla, back to you in the safe and comfort of the studio.
Well, thanks a lot, Lloyd. I'm not Makushla, but we are joined this morning by downtown Natasha Brown once again to stretch those bones. A lot of folks are home, nothing to do, but we are dealing with the kids this morning. Time to get off those WhatsApp, those telephones, and those iPads and all those stuff, those PS3 or whatever they're on, and time to work out, Tasha.
Yes, good morning again. And this is downtown Natasha Brown, keeping you safe, motivated, and energized. It's very important, Charles, that parents try to stick to their children's format. Make sure that whenever they do physical education in school, try to see if you can maintain that schedule so that they don't lose too much track and focus. As best as you're able to continue with their class routine and schoolwork, however you can keep them organized, I really recommend that. And most of all, to keep them moving.
So what's in store for the kids this morning? I know they're used to working those fingers. Let's see if they can work those legs and other part of the body.
I've got 6 good exercises for them, and we can start. Hopefully they've got their spots sanitized and they're ready to go. So let's go ahead and start with some really big arm circles to get those arms, get the body pumping, get that mind right. Now reverse, take it all the way to the back. Make sure right now you're relaxed, And you're opening up those arms nice and wide. Now let's switch. Take it to side twist. Again, just make sure you're feeling comfortable. You want to do it because a lot of times kids don't really want to participate in PE. Let's go ahead now and add the toe tap to it. Again, make sure you've got some water because a lot of the kids get tired quickly. And let's do about 4 more taps to the toes. That's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it to the ground. We're going to take it into a plank right here. We're going to walk into the toes. Let's walk all the way back out. Now let's do something called an inchworm, where you come all the way in and you walk all the way back out. Let's try that again. Walk into the toes. Walk all the way back out into a plank, and then walk all the way into the hands. Take it all the way back, which sets us up for our next exercise. You want to place one foot right up underneath the chest where it's comfortable for you. Take it out. Bring the next knee in. Let's go ahead and alternate. Make sure you're breathing. Make sure your hands are comfortable. And to take this to another level, let's go ahead and add a jump. Making sure you're comfortable, you're breathing. Great. Let's take it to our knees. Take it into a child's pose. Stretch right here. Now let's take it forward into a push-up. Take it back into child's pose. Take it forward into a push-up. One more time. Child's pose position. And take it forward into a push-up. Hold it right here. So now we're going to go into arm movement as we flutter kick. Make sure you're comfortable. You're breathing. The hands are fully extended. The hands are moving, and so are the feet. Make sure it's happening at the same time. 2, 3, and 4. Great. Let's take it up and make it just a little bit more interesting. Let's start off with skaters. Step and touch at the back. Make sure the arms are comfortable. You're breathing, you're relaxed. If you want a little bit more, you can add a jump. Add the jump, add the jump. Make sure the foot is going all the way off to the side. 4 more times. 3, 2, and 1. Now let's stand in place with a slow little jog here. Make sure again the body is erect. You've got the hands involved and your feet are comfortable. Stop right here. Let's add nice. 4 more times. 3, 2, ready. Let's run again. Starting right here on the spot. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Watching Natasha, it looked like those days when you used to do the long jump a few years ago out there at Aquinas and then on to college, and you're still being fit up. This was for the kids this morning, but I know some of your older folks got involved. What's in store for Friday? Friday, we're going to wrap it up with everything.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm excited because for the first time I will be doing a routine for the disabled. So whatever situation you may have, even those that are recovering, those who may have situations with sciatica, this will be your show for tomorrow.
And that's going to do it for your workout session here on the morning edition. When we come back following this break, we're going to let you know how Boston is going to say the weather is going to be for today.
The Ministry of Health wishes to advise members of the public that prevention is key during this flu season. Practicing good cough hygiene can make the difference between you and your loved ones getting the flu or spreading the influenza virus. Good cough hygiene habits include covering your mouth and nose with a tissue when coughing or sneezing, and proper disposal of the tissue in a trash bin. Coughing or sneezing into your upper sleeve near your inner elbow and not your hands when a tissue is not available. Avoiding the use of handkerchiefs and towels as they hold germs, becoming a nest for the virus. And frequently washing your hands with soap and water, which is listed as one of the most important steps you can take to avoid getting sick and passing the virus on to others. If you have any questions about how to practice good cough hygiene to avoid catching or spreading the flu, contact your nearest community clinic or the Health Education Division at the Ministry of Health. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health in partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority.
Nature-based tourism supplies almost $50 million in revenue for Androsians every year. These priceless resources will continue to provide renewable benefits for thousands of people for years to come, as long as we take long-term action to preserve what's rightfully ours. The natural environment has played a vital role in our culture and economy for generations. Let's take care of nature, and nature will take care of us.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Parents, school is closed, but your children are not on vacation. As much as possible, spend time reviewing and helping them to organize their virtual lessons. Try to find a structured time each day for study and for recreation. Remember, learning never stops.
This public service announcement was brought to you by the Communications section of the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Hi, I am Downtown Natasha Brown, and welcome to The Ultimate You.
Well, it's time for our morning forecast, and a beautiful morning it is with near clear skies and a temperature of 72 degrees, relative humidity 93%. The winds are out of the west-southwest at 6 miles per hour. Barometric pressure 1,015.0 millibars, that's 29.99 inches, and it is rising. Temperatures this morning, Marsh Harbor at 71, Green Toll Key 71 degrees, 71 also in Freeport, Grand Bahama, the Berry Islands 78, 72 degrees in Alistown, Bimini 76 in Harbor Island, Roxanne, Lutra, Otterstown, Cat Island, we pick it up 79 in Staniel Key, also Kemps Bay at 79, Fresh Creek, Central Lounges at 74 degrees. In San Salvador and Rum Key, 76 degrees, 74 in Ragged Island, Clarence Town, Long Island, and Crooked Island, Betsy Bay, Maguana, 78, Ackland, 78 degrees, Machitan, Inagua, 74, and the Turks and Caicos Islands at 76 degrees. And if you happen to be flying out this morning, well, here are some high-low temperatures you're likely to find at selected cities.
Yes, I still yes it back one more time. Live and direct, this one is called Come Go With Me. Back to Bimini, y'all. Listen here, watch it, do it. When I saw you first, I knew you was the one for me. You were very fine, very true and so sexy. Saw you watching me from straight across the room. I knew you was the one, I knew I had to take you home. Me to Ilustra, me to Inagua.
And that's going to do it for your travel forecast. Now for your boating forecast for today in the northwestern Bahamas. We're going to have southwest to west winds just ahead of a weak front system that's moving through the northwest Bahamas. Speeds 10 to 15 knots, the wave heights 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. The high tide, that will take place at 9:57 this morning. Your low tide will occur at 4:08 in the afternoon. Now in the central and southeastern islands, light and variable winds, very flat sea conditions at 1 to 3 feet over the ocean. A satellite picture, well, it's showing that pre-fall trough, which moved through the northwest Bahamas yesterday, has now rapidly moved into the southeastern parts of our country. But here's the frontal boundary, just to the north of us. We'll be moving through the extreme northwest Bahamas later on this afternoon, and behind that, we expect the temperatures to drop just slightly, and we will have some comfortable nights heading forward. Mostly sunny today, high temperature reaching 82 degrees, and tonight we're looking at another beautiful night with their clear skies, low temperature getting down to 69 degrees. And the extended weather forecast over the next 7 days, lots of sunshine once again in our forecast, and those nighttime temperatures going to remain as they were for the last week and a half.
Well, thanks, Basil. That does it for us here on the Morning Edition. Do have a wonderful and safe Thursday, everyone. And as always, remember to lock your TVs and radios into the ZNS News Network.
Come on, do it! Yeah, been all around the Bahama Islands searching for you, baby. Finally found the right one.